Here with head football coach Steve Johnson. And coach, a really good, gritty win from your football program this last weekend, 33-24 over Gustavus. Talk about what you were excited about from your program on Saturday's victory.
I thought our guys just played hard, and as I look back the whole year, we've really had to deal with some adversity as far as injuries are concerned, and you know they kind of take the wind out of you, and you kind of you always have that who's up next, and we're fine with that. At the same time, you know you do a lot of planning, and I was reiterating that our offensive line hasn't been intact, and now we're kind of getting some guys back, and that showed. You know, we ran the ball really well, but we had practiced with a certain five, six, seven, you know, all the way to the first game, and that's half of your practices for the year.
Yeah.
And then those guys have not, they never even played together except for 3/4 of one game, and so those are different things. And then even last week we lost a great player for this year is Jesse Mockley. We lost him in practice with a leg injury, and Danny Lytle, who we thought we'd have back, he wasn't back. And so there's key guys against Gustavus who's ridiculous at throwing the ball. And so I was just really proud of our defensive coaches, our defensive guys, that they just hung in there and did sharp things. And then offensively, same thing with the coaches and the kids executed the plan, played hard, and it's something that we have never, you know, we value toughness. So we value a bunch of guys that love each other and will play their hearts out for each other, and that's what they did. And you know, we got the win, but either way, it was neat to see the guys just rally around one another.
Well, you talked about both sides of the ball being effective, but one thing that was interesting was almost back and forth throughout the whole game. But in the fourth quarter, your defense just was shut down. You didn't allow the Gustavus any points in the fourth quarter. Did something change, or was it just executing that game plan and kind of making some small and minor adjustments?
Well, I think that you know, it's a 60-minute game, and it was a back and forth game. It was where, you know, we were ahead, and then they were ahead, we were ahead. It just was back and forth the whole game. So it really wasn't as different. They had a drop or two. We had a bad call. There was an inadvertent whistle where we lost the ball, and so you know, that's a football game, and that's a life thing, and you're going to have great stuff happen, you're going to have bad stuff happen. How do you fight through that? You know, and at the end of the day, you know, what's the score at the end? And I felt like, you know, we shut them out at the end, but you know, there's circumstantial things. It's you know, you're adjusting all the time. So the answer to your question is yes and yes. You're adjusting all the time. But we weren't really doing anything different. We're just, you know, who executes better wins.
Well, something that's been indicative of this whole season, Marshall Klitsky had probably a career day for himself, first time rushing over 200 yards. But talk about, you know, again talking about injuries, Bridge goes down and Marshall kind of has to step up and be the main guy. Talk about what he brought to the table.
Marshall is a great football player, and he is a great teammate, and he's a guy who is the guy all the time, and so he was just able to benefit from an offensive line that was intact. And then the offensive line gains joy and excitement out of the way that Trey's running and the way that Marshall's running. So you have both guys kind of feeding the O-line. The O-line likes to be fed, and then they're kind of giving that same thing back. So there's kind of that mutual encouragement that way, and those guys just executed well. And Joshua Ness ran the ball well, and you know, he came in short yardage things and turned them into big gains. But he's a great running back too. And so we have those guys. It's not really about who the guy is. It's about how we execute, because they all can play.
Well, let's turn our focus to this Saturday. It's the final home game versus St. John's. Obviously, there's not a lot of motivation that you need because it's already built into this week. Talk about what you've seen the Johnnies.
Well, you know, we always like to play St. John's. They always like to play us. It's going to be a physical, fast game. Our programs are, you know, they're the top ones in the league, and we love that competition. We love playing against them. We're glad it's here because it's just a different deal, you know. And but we love to play up there too. So the rivalry's great. It's kind of what you prepare for all the time. They've got a lot to lose because there's a situation with their playoffs and everything, and you know, we don't really play for those types of things, but that could cause them to be either over excited, or they won't be under excited, you know, and so there will be but it can cause a little bit of a tension piece there, and we just felt like last week our ability to just play, just play. You know, we've been working the game, and I just feel like one of the things last week was our guys played, and that was really fun. You know, and we kind of get to the place where everything just feels so important that you don't just kind of let her rip.
Yeah. Well, it certainly should be a very fun and upbeat game between two great teams, and looking forward to a great game against St. John's. Thanks, Coach.
Can't wait.